Oh, good morning, YouTube world. My name's Bill. This is Pirate Solutions Forestry, and I'm waiting on a customer to come pick up his boat enclosure substructure. That's his sill plates and his knee walls. And what we have to cut today is some 14-foot, 3/4 by 4-inch boards that he's going to bend over the top of it. So at some point he's going to show up, and I'll have to pause this video a little bit. Maybe we'll get him on video to talk. Sorry about the last video with the audio. My mics went dead. I know you heard some of, I've been roofing the garage and doing a lot of stuff. Yesterday, my truck broke down on the highway an hour from home. Had my alternator crap, and my wife came on emergency, blew off her board meeting, flew down there with some tools, and for me, we got it started on the side of the highway, got it to AutoZone, got a new alternator, threw it in, and we're all good there, good to go. So Danny and I are going to do a little bit of milling today, a little bit of firewood work. It's getting cold up our way. Unfortunately, we're in like a burn ban here. I can't even burn in a burn barrel, they're telling us. So I don't have the burn barrel going, which would help a lot. But kind of is what it is. So we got to get this one knocked out. He's got a little bit of work to do on this substructure to get it put together before he needs these, but I want to get him off the mill and get him to him as quick as I can. So we're going to mill this thing, and we're going to run this Stella cut band, I think, pretty close on this first sharpening to the end of its life. I think this will be it for this particular band. Then I got to get all my sharpening stuff down into the new equipment shed behind me that we built, so I can start sharpening out here or get set up to do it. I got to stuff a workbench in there, so that might be something that I do over the weekend along with finishing that roof. So just to give you a little context, you kind of see what's left of my bundles of shingles sitting up there on that low 4-pitch roof. That's what I have to finish. I got to scrape it off first, and then I'm going to shingle that. I got the rest of the bundles in the back of the truck. That is all the 2x8s and the 2x4s for his stub structure that he's coming to get. And this is the 14-foot pitch pine that we have up on the sawmill that we are going to mill into 3/4 by 4-inch, 14-foot long boards. He needs 20 of them. I think we can get them all out of this log. Danny's out running around. So I am going to pause you guys for 1 second. I'm going to fire up the mill, let you watch from the outfeed side here. Not exactly sure how this is going to go. Oh, there's Danny. Good. I won't pause you. He's over there hunting chipmunks. You can see him in the background. We're going to go ahead and fire up, take the top off this mill, and at some point when this customer shows up, we will pause this video for a few minutes while I take care of him and then get back to work. I still am working on testing out these mechanics gloves. I did get some feedback from them, and I do like the gloves. We're talking about just how they're stitched in the fingertips. I showed it in the last video if you want to watch it. Let's get fired up and let's go to work here. Thing's cold. I'm going to run pretty heavy water, I think. I got to get this band cleaned up because uncharacteristically I left it on. I'm hoping this doesn't move. It's a weird shaped log. I really had a lot of trouble getting it up against the stops, and I didn't get it up against that one down there. And just so you know, I have it off this bunk to keep it level because there's a weird chunk on it. And these aren't super critical. It's just basically strapping for visqueen to go over this boat enclosure. It's kind of like building a greenhouse around his boat so that he can work on his boat in there. He's going to do some work, and then he's going to build a boat in there. So let's get the cutting. We're going to try to get this into as big a cant as we can. I think top cut's going to be around 14. This afternoon I got to do cleanup. So let's get to cutting. Let's see how this band cuts. Let's get some water flowing here. I want a little heavier flow than that, and I'm going to adjust my spigot to shoot on the front side of the band. It looks like I pushed back a little bit. It's one thing I like about these adjustable spigots. Looks like 14 might be a little high. I think I'm going to try it there. We'll see what happens. We'll take any bonus material off at 3/4. That's too high. I'm going to come down an inch. I don't think I could have gotten a 1x4 out of this. It's pretty thin in the middle and pretty thin at the beginning. Pretty close. It actually ended up being a pretty good cut, to be honest with you. It's almost a shame it's going for this. A beautiful log. It's got beautiful blue staining in it. Doesn't look like any bugs at all. This is going to be a good log for what he's trying to do with it, because what he needs, and the reason I didn't do white pine in this, is he needs pieces that are going to bend without breaking. And the pitch pine's a lot more resilient in that respect. This is going to be a really nice log. I'm not sure how big a cant we'll get out of it, but I'm thinking that we're going to get something that's going to be big enough for what he needs. I mean, to get us 20 pieces. And if we don't get the 20 pieces, I do have stuff that I can edge. Man, that stuff is hard. It's a hard log. I do have some 18-foot pieces up top that I can edge off. Marty over here. So I'm not going to really worry about weighing right now. Just going to try and get it into as big a square as I can. Any flitches that I take off, I'll take off at 3/4 if I think I can get a piece out of them. Looks like this cut's going to be about 12, which is kind of where I was thinking I was going to be. Band's cutting good. You can see it, probably see that it's got a weird shaped end down here. Kind of sinks. There was a miss on the end here, so I don't have enough wood here to get a hole. Oh, I might actually. I'm going to go ahead and take a 3/4 inch piece, and to get 3/4 you need to drop 7/8. So that was at 12, so we're going to drop to 11 1/8, and we're going to take a 3/4 inch flitch off the top here. This band's not just cutting good, this band's cutting great. One thing I have found with the Stella Cut bands is as they start to get a little dull, is they love cutting dry wood. If anything, when they start to get dull and they start to wander, they wander more in wet wood than they do dry wood. This log is pretty dry and it's cutting it really nice. So we'll get her flipped on her side. See if we can get her squared up. We'll deal with any wane later. I could take another piece out of this. You know what? I think I'm gonna take one more flitch out of this. Try and even up this end a little bit. I'm kind of robbing from Peter to give it to Paul if I do, but this end's only 6 inches wide. I'm going to take one more flitch. So we were at 11 and 8. We're going to drop to 10 and a quarter. It's a 7/8 drop. I'll take another one. Hopefully, if you watched the last video where the audio went bad, one good part about that video was that you got to hear the sawmill. If you didn't watch it, go back and watch it. If you want to hear what the sawmill sounds like without the noise canceling on the mics, that was the good part about having the receiver go bad, is that you finally do get to hear the sawmill, the real sawmill, and how it sounds when it's cutting. The noise canceling really messes with that. So we got a really good face here. We're going to flip it on its side, see if we can get it squared up. And this isn't, like I said, super critical. We want to give them pieces that are nice and uniform overall. It's going to give them the best chance to have them not break. There's almost right now, there's not a knot in this whole face. It's going to work out really good for him, I think. That's what I didn't want to have happen right there. Did not want that to scoot over. How the hell am I going to deal with that? It's going to want to roll backwards when I go to try to scoot it over. I don't know why. It's tilting on something. I'm going to get my log dog assist in place. Hopefully it'll catch it if it tries to fall down. It's pretty hard wood, so it might not. Oh, getting close here. Got to move my log dog assist over a little bit. I just don't want it to fall back on me. I don't think it would catch it anyway. I think it would just slide right up it. I am slightly over rotated, so I'm gonna have to do the under rotation trick here. I'm trying to keep my eye out for this guy when he shows up. There we go. That works perfect. If you guys haven't seen that, watch my previous videos. It explains how I just did what I did, because that's not easy to do on a manual mill. get a log to under rotate the other way. Holy smokes almighty. It's like almost perfect. Oh, that is perfect. All right. Find Danny really quick. Danny in there, but oh, I see him. So he's over there. Okay, it looks pretty good. I think we're gonna cut it off somewhere around 14-ish. That might miss down there, but we'll try it there first. So we get this thing into a square before he gets here. Throw our support all the way in here. Could even go more than that. Like all the way in. It's gonna be close. Might just drop to 13 and save myself a headache here. Yeah, I'm gonna take it there. That might have been what I call a one board error. No, I couldn't have got it here. I don't have it. I don't think so. I think that was a good cut. I think that was actually perfect. Just gonna check my width. So I'm 10 here. Let's see where my 14 is. 14's here. I'm gonna end up with a few boards that are gonna be short of 14 here on this vlog. Hoping that's gonna be okay. If I have to cut some more, I gotta cut some more. But I'm gonna take one. So I'm at 13. I'm gonna go to 12 and an eighth. I'm gonna take a flitch off it. There's a weird butt cut on this log. It's gonna make me short on this side a little bit. There's some of these boards are gonna be really close on the 14. I was kind of hoping that was gonna resolve itself when I cut it. It's so close. It's only gonna affect a couple of boards by an inch or two. I think that'll be fine. So I think I am going to go ahead and just take one off here. So we were at 13, we're going to drop to 12 and an 8. That should edge off into 2 boards at 4 inches. What is that dog getting into? He got dirt all over him. That dog's as crazy as the day is long. That should edge off into 2. This is kind of my long side here. I don't think that all these dimensions are super critical. You know, we're kind of just guessing. So if I could get it into 12 this way, I could bust it into 3 pieces and then just mill it out. And that'll give me definitely plenty of boards. So let's flip her all the way over. And then this weird section here, I'm going to end up with a few boards that are short. They're not going to be a lot short. They're going to be just short. And again, we're kind of guessing on the length. So even if they were a couple inches short, I think they'd still be fine for them. Big question right now is whether that helps me a little bit if I want to take a flitch off right now. So if I do that, I'm at 10.5. So if I end up at 12, and if I do try to do 12, there's going to be a lot of wane, but I think that's what I'm going to do. 10.5, 12 is going to be 3. Let's just call it 9. That's like 27 boards, so there's way more than enough. I think I can just go ahead and take one off right here. That's going to help me with the wane over here. And I should get 2 boards out of it. Yeah, I'm 8 wide, so I'm going to get 2 boards out of it if I do that. I'm going to take one flitch off right here right now. And I think that was at 12 1/8, I believe. Let's just go ahead and double check that. Whoa, no. Oh no, what am I saying? So like down at 10 something. It was at 10 1/8. Alright, so I have to drop to 9 1/4. And take it off right there. That'll yield us another 2. So we're definitely going to have plenty in this. He'll kind of get his pick. My big concern, I don't know if you can see this, but my big concern is as this log tapers into this weird angle here and how short I'm going to end up on some of these boards. So the goal is going to be to get as many as we possibly can. I'm going to throw his order to the wind here and just say, out of this log, we are going to only get his order. There's nothing else is going to come out of it. We'll give him as many as we can. So even if he wants 20, if we end up at 30, we're going to give him 30. Now my goal is kind of to get to 12. I'm plenty. I'm plenty low enough. I want to get to 12 so I can cut it into 3 pieces. And it's good that we're taking off the real short side right now. So we'll see what we can get out of this side. If I have to leave a little wane, I will, because we're going to end up with too many boards anyway. Let's see if we can get up to somewhere around 13. That's going to miss. I'm going to take it right at 12. If I take it at 12 and a quarter, it's going to miss a little bit. I'm just going to take it at 12 and then cut it on inch marks. Not going to work. Nope. That's not going to work. That is not going to work. It's not going to be 12. It's going to end up being a bunch of flitches and get it to 8 and something now. So I got to drop at least an inch just to clean this up. I'm going to drop to 11. This is pretty much a waste cut. So we're taking it out of the short side, which is good. When I watch the video back, there's a possibility that if I had not taken some out of the other side, that I would be okay. So I'm at 11. I'm going to drop to 10 and an eighth and take that full length one off right now. So we're at 10 and an eighth high. We're going to check our width. We're going to see which way we're going to get to our 8 quickest. So I might flip it on its side, see where the wane is. This is my shortest side, so I don't want to waste a ton of boards here. What's my width? All right, so I'm at 9 and a quarter this way, which if I take one board off this side, I'm getting it off the short side with this wane. That's the short side. Yeah, and this side is a short side. So let's flip it back. We'll take it to 8 1/4. We'll get one board off, and we'll cut it into double cant. I got some wane down here. I have got a little bit of wane there. This is the short side too. I'm going to flip it over and do it on this side here because of this wane down here. Leave that. Goal is to get it, I'm sorry, 8 1/8. We wanted it 8 1/8. And we'll cut it in half into 2 4-inch chunks. And then just mill all those boards out. Get my stops down a little bit before I have to think about it. Let's get them down to something like 3, so we don't have to think about it for a little while. Middle at 3 if it'll stay there. Every time I flip over, that one drops. So our goal is to get it to 8 and... Wow, this has a long board in it too. We can just cut it in half. It doesn't matter if they're exactly 4 inches. So we're going to take this down. We're going to get a 3/4 inch board out of this first. And let me think about this. Then I'll be 8 in this dimension, and then I got to cut it in half at 4. How low am I? 3. Yeah, I think that's close, but I think I'm okay. So we're going to want to take it a 3/4 inch board off the top, then basically just cut it in half, then flip it on its side, and we'll mill it out. On 3/4 inch scale. So let's see where we are. That works out perfect. Minus an 8. Quarter, 8 3/8. What was that here? 9 1/4. 9 1/4. I got to drop to 8 3/8. I'm going to come up, I'm going to go back, I'm going to drop to 4 1/8 and cut it right now. Now we're going to flip it on its, get this one board off. We're going to flip it on its side. We're going to flip it on its side, go on 3/4 inch scale and mill it right out. And actually, this could be good because we'll have a board by the time he gets here and he can see how they're going to bend. We got a bunch up here to edge. That is going to give us about 18 of them right here, and maybe a couple that are going to be kind of weird short. Yeah, so we got plenty for his 20. This actually worked out okay. We're going to 3/4 inch scale off the bottom. And our mill already has 3/4 scale off the bottom on the Norwood side, so that should work out pretty good. So we'll get our waste cut on the top. This one little piece of wane right here is going to be gone. Let's see if I can flip it without losing a chunk. Got to go fast with this. Yep, perfect. So our first cut's going to end up being a waste cut, if there is any. Could theoretically be on scale, but I doubt it. So our first cut's going to be like a waste cut. And then our second cut will be a real cut. Let's see where we are. Actually, about right there. So we want to drop to this 3. We're going to take a waste cut. And next cut's going to be down at like 8 5/8. That wasn't really a waste cut. Those are almost 3/4 of an inch thick. I think those boards will be okay. So we'll go to 8 5/8. Full disclosure, I made a little bit of a mistake here. I shouldn't have taken my waste cut. I shouldn't have taken my waste cut off the top, because this was my longest board. I should have made that 3/4 and 3/4 down, but it'll be okay. We'll have plenty. So we were at 8 5/8. Next one is at 7 3/4. Keeping in mind that my stocks are down to 3. One, 2, 3 up. Next cut's at 6 inches even. They only get, after the next cut, they only get smaller from here. Oh, I missed the side. I gotta come up. 6 and 7/8. One, two, three, four. Now we're going at 6. Hit that mark perfect. It went right into that curve and didn't even make a noise. Three, four, five. 3, 4, 5. Next cut's going to be at like 5 and an 8. So these are 7/8 drops on this, which gives you a 3/4 inch board. Two, 3, 4, 6. We'll get some of these off. Take a look at them, see how they bend. These should be here any time now. These top ones are, instead of 3/4, they're 5/8. So they still might work for them. Let's see how they're going to bend. These would bend fine. Let's see how the 3/4 ones are going to bend. Oh yeah, this one this one's got some knots in them. It's going to be the question is, can he bend them enough? I'm not really sure. They're pretty flexy, but if this was white pine, I could probably break it with my hands. And it just so happens that there are some knots in this, but they're not too bad. They're not right in the middle of the board, and they're ebonized. The knots are ebonized, so I think it's going to be okay. They're like hard as a rock. That one's in the middle of the board. So I'll give you a look. I think you guys get the idea of the process. I don't think I'll make you watch me mill the rest of this out. It's only a few more cuts and drop my stops down and make a few more cuts. Give you a look at what we got going on here anyway. So there are a few knots in these, but I don't know if I can get close in on them. They're ebonized. So they're like hard like glass. And with pitch pine is much, much harder than white pine. These are way heavier. I don't know if you can hear it when I hear this when I drop it. Listen, you hear how hard they are versus a white pine board that when you drop it, it would kind of thud because they're soft. These are hard, 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 hard. Yeah. You hear that click? That's how hard the wood is. So hopefully these work for him. I mean, hopefully he's kind of figured this out. He sounds like he knows what he's doing. So hopefully he's got this thing figured out. And I am going to get these pulled off, just tossed on the Bobcat quick so I can move them all in a minute. Cut the rest of this out. When I get down low, below 4 inches, I'll actually leave those on there, what's left of them on there, so I can edge what's up here. And I'll edge these off. There's only a few of them here. I'll edge those off into 4-inch boards. Also have the whole thing, just dump the whole thing on top of there for him to pick up maybe tomorrow or this weekend or something. And hopefully he's getting all those out of here. So that's kind of what's going on. This afternoon, I got to get this area cleaned up. I'm going to come in with a chainsaw. It's some like big, long 16-footers, and now I got 14-footers added to it. I'm just going to cut them in half, load them all on the forks, and toss them in the pile that I have to deal with. I have another order of fence boards I got to cut, 10-foot 1x6s. I got to get on that order too. And then I got oak flooring at 5/4 to cut that I have to get on as well. Those aren't super critical, and I'm going to kind of get into a firewood dilemma here if I don't start working more on firewood. So I'm going to end up over there cutting into those piles and splitting the right side of that slab wood up. That's the driest, and it's got the most hardwood in it. And we'll take a look at Danny here, and we'll sign off. Let's see what Danny's up to. What are you looking at, bud? What you finding? Something under there? Yeah? Think there could be something under there? And all these logs here have to get bucked up and split. So I think I'll be working on that this afternoon. Clean up around the mill, cut some firewood, get it up top in my firewood bin, covered up, get a little bit more in the house. I actually turned the heat on a minute this morning. I have firewood in the house, but everybody's leaving. So I don't want to keep, I didn't want to burn. So I did turn the heat on for a few minutes. Just take the edge off, and looks like it's going to be a cold week. So I appreciate the watch, guys. If you guys have any questions or suggestions or problems. Oh, Kate's leaving. Bye, honey. Okay. Sorry, she's turning the furnace off, and we have to flip a breaker because we had our thermostat earlier in the season. We turned the heat on. I can't remember. No, it was last season. Sorry. Last season, the end of the season. We turned the heat on one time. It didn't shut off. It ended up making the house like 75 degrees. So then I went and tested it, and it's working now, but somehow the on-off, even though the thermostat said shut it off, the burner didn't turn off. So we have to have it checked. So we're actually flipping the breaker whenever we turn it on and off so that it can't do that again. So she's just double checking which breaker to hit. So I got to go in and make sure she hit the right one. She's on her way to work, and Danny and I are going to hunt some more chipmunks and work around the wood yard. So appreciate the watch, guys. That Stella Cup band, I don't know what to say about them anymore. I don't know, maybe they just never go bad. I don't know that I've ever really had one go bad. It's cutting perfect. So it's not the end of the life for that one. So appreciate the watches. Part Solutions out.